Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Drea and today I'll be doing a brow tutorial using eyeshadow. So I like to start off by using my eyebrow razor and they're pretty cheap. They have them on Amazon. Here's a picture of them if you're interested. And I just use that I actually use this all over my face and it leaves my face so freaking smooth. And I noticed that my foundation looks a lot smoother. Anyway, so I'm going with my spoolie and brushing my brows and trying to get them nice and tamed. And I'm just brushing the very front upwards, and I'll be using my Lorac Pro Matte palette in the color chocolate. And I'm going to start by underlining the very bottom of my brow, leaving the very front of the brow blank, and working my way all the way down to the tail of the brow. And as you can see, I like to flip my brush the other way and then underline my brow. For some reason, it just kind of helps me a little bit better. And I'm kind of just really taking my time with it, picking up more product and then underlining it again, getting more product. It's just, you got to really take your time with it and be precise with your brows. And then now I'm going to fill in the very front of the brow and then do the top of my brow, tracing just the natural arch of my brow. And as I'm doing that, I'm also filling in the tail of my brow as well. And then going back to the very front of the brow. And for the front, I like to go very light-handed with this just so it doesn't look too harsh. And then if I end up wanting it a little bit darker, I'll just dip into a little bit more. So now I'm just filling in the rest of the brow, and it is going to get messy just because it's eyeshadow. You are probably going to have some fallout, but it's fine because later on we're going to go back and conceal everything. And then to get a little bit of that blended effect in the front of the brow, I'm just flicking my spoolie forward and upward for a more blended effect. And now I'm just brushing through my hairs just to get the product nice and even. And now I'm going in with my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Fair Neutral with my brush that I like to use for my brows, which is the Morphe E19. Another one that I also really like using is the Morphe M421. Those are both really good for cleaning up the brows. And as you can see, I'm not really taking my brush so high up to the brow. I'm kind of working my way. So I'm placing the product a little bit under and then spreading it and then working my way a little bit higher just so I don't have so much product there and then have it spread into the brow hairs. And then it's just going to be a huge mess. And we don't want that. So just make sure to really take your time with it just so you have much more precision and a more cleaner look. I used to really like using the NYX brow pencil, but I don't know, I kind of just got over that a couple months ago, and now I just been filling them in with eyeshadow, and I noticed that in the sun it just looks a little bit more natural and it doesn't look as harsh, I guess. So with the concealer, I also like to do the same technique as what I was doing with the eyeshadow. I like to spread the concealer towards the middle or the end of the brow and then work my way to the very front of the brow. Girl, it's 1 p.m. Now I'm just spreading around the concealer just because when I blend it out, I do like to use that as a primer for my eyeshadow as well. So I'm just using my Real Techniques blending brush to blend out the concealer. And I'm just using a really light hand with it, letting the brush do its job. I don't want to go too heavy-handed with it and then end up with brush streaks on my lids. We don't want that. And for the front of the brow, I just like to flick my brush upward just to kind of blend the very front of it so it doesn't look like there's product in the middle or like a unibrow. And there's this trick I really like to do for the bottom and the top of my brow. I like to put my finger right over where the concealer is just to get rid of any extra product that we might have. So it doesn't look like we have a whole ring of concealer or foundation around our whole brow. And now I'm just going over the brow again with some more shadow. For some reason, it looks really light towards the bottom of the brow, but it really doesn't look like that in person. It looks like the same exact color as my brows. And now I'm grabbing more of that Shape Tape concealer to clean up the brows a little bit more precisely. And here's what it should be looking like. Bougie. Ugly. And to clean up the top of my brows, I like to use my True Match Lumi foundation in the color N1-2. And doing the same exact thing what we did in the bottom except with foundation. And I'm using foundation and not concealer for the top of my brows just because I feel like it makes my brows look a little too dramatic if I conceal the top with concealer. And then sometimes my foundation doesn't really blend in right with the concealer and it just looks kind of funky, you know, but personal preference, to each their own. And I'm just filling in more parts of my brows that I feel like might need a little bit more coverage. And now I'm just using my spoolie and combing forward and upward for that blended effect again. And going in again with my Real Techniques buffing brush or blending brush for the very front of the brow so we can hide all that extra eyeshadow that we might have in the very front of the brow. Sometimes I won't use the Real Techniques brush and I will use my Morphe M173. That one does the job just as good as well. And now I'm going back in with the foundation and putting more foundation to where I feel like might need a little bit more coverage. That's just how I do my brows. I jump back and forth sometimes, and just to get them as perfect as they can be. I feel like towards the end of the brow, it still looks like there's some product missing or something, but in the end, I will show you a picture of what it looks like in natural lighting. Alright you guys, so that wraps up today's video. I hope you guys learned something new today. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and let me know what you might like to see next.